to set this scene entirely, you guys are in the quiet catacombs underneath this ruined keep. You've managed to pretty much kill everything that was down here that was a threat. You have raided the foot lockers and all the small areas, managed to find a bit of treasure here and there. You do know that there's a lot of enemies still above ground awaiting you to emerge. If they even know anything happened down here, you're not quite sure yet if they're aware of what happened. You're all tired.
Yeah, because we weren't very loud.
You weren't very loud because there's a lot of sneak attacks.
Backstabbing doesn't make a lot of noise.
And the combat that did occur was really far into the catacombs, so there's not a lot of sound bouncing and getting upstairs. So what's the plan, guys? Do you want to stay here? Do you want to try to sneak out? I know when we left off, there's a bit of conversation about what we wanted to do with that.
I think we had come to the decision, if I remember correctly, that we were going to take a rest because all of us are pretty much fucking spent.
Yep.
That's not a problem. You guys can rest down here. Now, be aware, though, if anybody comes down, that could be a bad day. Yeah. So
that's true.
So you guys want to risk it? Is that what I'm hearing here?
I think that was the consensus.
Why don't we do this? I have to go back up and out anyways. So I have to go back to that little settlement on a little errand. While I do that, I will simultaneously scope out what the situation is up there. And I can actually see if I can find a decent spot to camp out up there. And that way, if anything is coming down or looks like there's some commotion going to come down, I can, I don't know, sneak back down and warn you guys or something.
Okay.
I could set an alarm.
Oh, yeah, or there's that.
Well, there's that. I mean, I don't know how safe it's going to be down here.
My feeling is it isn't.
No, it will not be safe.
Right. I think, Boss, I think, is our best bet to find out what it's like out there and if we even have a chance of sneaking out of here.
So I'll sit. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to go sit down at the bottom of the staircase when he goes up. So if something spots him, all he has to do is yell. I'll let you guys know. We'll haul ass up and we'll just have to deal with whatever happens. Yeah, I think that's the best bet because I don't want to leave Voss up there without anybody either. So if I'm at the bottom of the staircase, I'll at least be able to hear shit.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and unstrap my light crossbow and I'm going to load it. Being low on spells, I will have to look at something else.
All right. It gives
I'll give a short, melodic whistle. And I'm going to give Sean Bardic Inspiration just in case.
I dig the Bardic Inspiration.
It's come in handy a couple times now.
It's good shit.
A couple 2-3 times.
Yeah.
Couple 2-3.
It certainly has. So we're going to get the Bardic Inspiration on Voss for whatever he needs it for because he's inspired. We've got Carol loading the light crossbow to have some method of attack. Now, what is everybody else doing?
Well, Nisrith doesn't need to sleep, so I have sword. I stand.
I'm going to stay at the bottom of the stairs for 10 or 15 minutes. If I don't hear anything, fuck it. I'll chill down there while I'm resting. Because if anything comes down, I'll be able to let everybody know.
That is completely reasonable, sir. Now, I am going to transition.
Before Boss leaves, I will just place a hand on his shoulder and I will say, may the Blue Mother guide you. And I'm going to give him guidance. Because cantrips are free. You have 1 minute where you can add a D4 to any ability check of your choice.
Ooh. Yes.
You can roll it before or after making the check.
Very good, very good.
So now Rin is going to stay down below because even though, despite the fact that he didn't use very many spells, he doesn't have a lot of offensive spells. A lot of his are utility and defense. He is white robed, so he's kind of focused in protection as opposed to attacking shit. And he's not really the stealthiest person, so walking out in the middle of the night, white robes, silver moon up or red moon up. Speaking of which moon is it? Let me recall.
Red moon, I believe. Or we were just out of the red moon.
Yeah, so we had just left the red moon.
Red moon is starting to wane, and now it's Solanari. The white moon is now up in the sky at high sanction, actually. So he gets bonuses to his spells.
That's good for him.
It's just that walking around in the middle of the night with the silver moon shining and white robes, he's going to stand out like a bonfire. So he's staying down here with you guys.
Does Voss look injured at all?
Nope.
No. All right.
No.
I'm pretty sure we. I think I was just mentioning that we had that a few of us had taken a hit from that scepter of power of his.
Yeah, the Thunderwave
Whacked
option
a
with
few
it.
of us.
Oh yeah, he did whack a person or two, but I think
Pretty sure that was me
got
actually.
healed.
I'd say he whacked a Sybil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
Looking
I'm
back at
gonna-
the log, there was like prayer of healing done, and
Because I was in his.
wounds done,
Because I was in
and
his
all
face,
kinds
Yeah.
shanking him quite a bit.
Yes, you were. Oh yeah, I
So
see.
you were
Oh
still
my
you were
God.
still looking fucked up then, right? For Sybil.
I'm actually okay now. I think healing spells
Sybil
were set
healed.
my way.
Looks like because there was
Okay.
I see cure wounds and then prayer of healing. Like you guys, boom, boom.
Yeah,
All healed.
we did some shit.
Yeah, you did. All right. So Voss is prepping to head upstairs. He gets blessed. Well, he has guidance put on him by Carol. He gets bardic inspiration by Dade. And he makes his way towards the stairs. Now, Dade's going to sit at the bottom of the stairs, listening out in case something goes wrong. And we got Carol, who has started to load up their light crossbow. Sean, you and I, and everybody really, are going to now transition to the upper level.
I thought you were going to say you and I are going to have words.
I mean,
Well,
that's a
that's that too.
possibility. But, you know, we're trying to be polite about stuff. Voss creeps up these stone stairs, the aged, crumbled, half, like, destroyed staircase, climbing out of this catacombs that you guys had managed to sneak into before. When he emerges into the moonlight, the fact that Solanari is out is a massive boon to him because he starts to see that the field up here has changed. The buildings are still the same, obviously. They're not going to walk around, but there's a lot of movement outside of his field of vision. You can see like past the large like fallen tower just directly to your left, to the west of you. As you kind of hit the top of the stairs and come upon this like the cobblestone flooring of what used to be a large, massive building, you can see this large shadow in the light of the moon roll across the grass towards you as this massive ogre is walking on the other side of this fallen tower. As you see that, you kind of look down southwest of you and you see a hobgoblin and a goblin kind of chattering to each other in this very guttural language as they're walking in your direction. Beyond that, you can see amidst some of the ruins of the buildings out here and some of the trees and this like really bright moon, as it is a full moon of Solanari tonight, everybody's starting to move around a bit. Like they're all starting to head up more towards this direction. You're not sure if it's because it's a time of night and it's starting to get to around, I'd say, 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, if they're coming down here to bed up or if they're on patrols or what it is, but they have definitely moved closer to this entrance.
All right. Then instead of trying to do too much, is this here that I'm pointing at, is that tall enough where I'd be able to like crouch down behind it?
So what you're pinging at there is like a fallen, I guess, it's not quite a wall. It looks more like it was a pillar that was standing up and probably supporting a roof at some point in time that's kind of fallen on its side, and it stayed mostly intact. So it's probably about 3 or 4 feet high from the ground up. It's a rather thick column. So you can probably, if you want to roll that direction and kind of duck down, you can probably get a good, you know, chance of being hidden from any like, you know, stray gazes that come your way.
Okay. Is this piece here any taller? In the corner?
So what you're looking at there is just to your northeast. There's part of what looks like it was maybe another tower on the corner of this building. It's the first level with like a half wall built up. The way it's been broken down when it collapsed, that floor that you see there, that part of a semblance of like a small like area of rock, that's slanted down. You could crawl underneath that and get a good hiding spot. The back wall, the portion that remains of the curved outside wall, is maybe 7 or 8 feet up into the air. So
Okay.
that actually does give you a good deal of cover right there.
Perfect. I'm going to go for that.
Go ahead.
This isn't cyberpunk, so cover matters.
Cover does matter.
Yep.
Go ahead and roll me your stealth.
Amen.
25 is very good, sir. Let's see what we get over here. We got a 3 on the ogre that's meandering about as you...
Definitely not 25.
No, it's not 25. As you basically dart up out of that entrance of the stairwell, you look around, see all this lay of the land and the moving shadows across the grass. You dart your way towards that outcropping, that fallen tower, and make your way to it. You manage to find a good spot to kind of slide and duck around, and you stay hidden. Doesn't seem anybody's seen you. There's no voices calling out, no alerts that seem to be raised, and you'll just see they start to meander about. It looks like some of them are actually heading towards that entrance as they start kind of filtering up to the northwest corner where you're at, or northeast corner where you're at.
Sure hope
Yes.
they're not. Sure hope they're not heading over here to Get a look at the newly born Ogre Titan.
Yeah, that'd be a little rough.
You know about that.
So, guys, funny story.
Right.
Your ritual failed horribly, and it birthed all of these crazy people instead.
I'm gonna stick for a little bit and watch and see what they do.
Okay. It looks like the ogre that you saw behind that collapsed tower kind of goes and sits down on that fallen pillar, and he's snacking on some sort of leg of some creature in his hand, because you hear the munching and the tearing of the flesh as he's just kind of having dinner, it looks like. The ogre and hobgoblin that were walking over that direction, they stop and lean against this wall that's kind of giving you a bit of cover as you guys snuck up here the first time. They're leaning back against that wall, just talking in like a goblinoid tongue. You're not quite sure, but it seems like it's a very lighthearted, almost flippant conversation. It's relaxed. The other ogre that you guys saw to the south of this area where you guys came in, it's just kind of meandering about. It's looking, just rooting through some of the rubble. You'll see it as it walks towards like a fallen entranceway. It's rooting through some of the rocks and stones, picking up like some like carved chunks, looking at them in the moonlight, and just toss them on the ground. It's just kind of rooting around looking for stuff. The rest of the goblinoids in this area just seem to be kind of meandering about. There doesn't seem to be any sort of tension in the air. It seems relaxed. It's just like they're just wasting time right now.
Okay. And do I have a sense of about how long until dawn?
You've got at least 5 or 6 hours before dawn.
Okay.
Worst case scenario.
Okay. I am going to start making my way like away, and
Okay.
I want to give a wide berth and start making my way back down, like where we came from. But I
Right.
want to.
So you want to circle far out and do like a wide circuit away from the camp and make your way back
Yeah.
down? Okay.
Yep.
Not a problem. I'm not going to make you roll your stealth, because when you made your way out here and stuck behind that tower, the line of sight that they have to you is completely obstructed. You head straight northeast, using that tower, the remnants of it anyways, as a foil to block anybody seeing you. You make your way, a couple hundred yards up that direction and just do this large circuit down and south. And you make your way down towards the elven camp that you kind of walk through as you came here. It kind of seems like they've gotten everything they wanted from that camp. There's no need for them to venture further out. What they have is what they needed. So Voss travels into the edges of the refugee camp for the elves, further south from this particular set of ruins. When you make it there, you don't see anything out of the ordinary. You see a bunch of the rows of tents like you guys did when you came through here. You see that it's super quiet. You can't hear anything moving within. And as you make your way through the rows of tents, you do manage to see that elf that you had talked to, the ghost of the elf. It seems like he's walking towards the ruins that you're coming from. And as he gets towards the edge of the camp is when he really comes into focus for you. As Solanari's light is shining down on him, he starts to have a more translucent, more visible outline. And you'll see that there is, looks like 2 small individuals, maybe children, walking towards him as you see the light hit their outlines as well. And a slender figure coming that way as well. When the 4 of them meet up, they gather for a moment, like in a semicircle, and they start walking back towards the camp. As they start walking back towards that camp, like the heart of it where like you saw this ghost originally, they start to grow more and more ethereal. Like the outlines start to shimmer and start to fade a little bit. And eventually, as they hit the center of the camp, they vanish outright. Now, for Voss, you feel a sense of peace. Not that vengeance has been had, but whatever enchantment had kept his family, or the ghost of his family, in that place you guys were just at, was probably destroyed with the death of that Ogre Titan, releasing the souls of the elves that had been used to fuel that transformation. And while this type of arcane is not really your bag or your spiel, having had experience with ghosts before, or at least somewhat in your past, as shocking as it may have been now and again, you feel this sense of release, like they are now gone.
How far away from this refugee camp was what the hell's his name? Liam?
Not far, if I remember.
Quarter of a
right.
mile.
Not far. Good. Yeah, because you
Only a
could
quarter
see
of a mile. Yeah, you can
could
see the camp from the road.
Okay. I will make my way over to Liam, since it's pretty close.
Sure. You pass through the rows of the tents for the camp. Clearly, it's still abandoned. Nobody's come to loot it. Obviously, it just happened recently. As you start making your way towards the road, you emerge out of the tall grass. You can see Liam smoking like a pipe, and he's just sitting on the back of the wagon, looking up at the moon, looking back into the wagon itself as you kind of approach. Doesn't seem to see you, and then just kind of taking a little like puff off his pipe, and just seems to be relaxing. He's not wearing his armor. He's still wearing just that chain shirt. He's got his leather breeches on. He seems like he's just waiting for you guys.
All right. I'll approach him.
You walk out of the grass. He's like, "Oh, just one of you."
No. I got to go back. The rest of the team is holed up in like this underground cavernous dungeon type thing. And there's like a couple of ogres and like a hobgoblin and all kinds of stuff rooting around the area. So I snuck out to check on a thing and kind of come back and update you.
Right.
Probably we'll be spending the night, or they'll be spending the night. I don't know if I'm going to go back or not.
So, are we helping them or are we leaving?
Hey, if you want to sneak back down there with me, you can come with.
Well, so what's the plan? Like, this sounds like, all due respect, like when I told you, you guys saw this, this is a better thing for the Vanguard guard to handle. Aye?
Yeah.
We go, we gather reinforcements, let them know what's going on. They come here, they take care of it. So, what are we doing? Why are they taking a nap?
Well, some are feeling a little spent.
Okay.
We did encounter some pretty stiff resistance down there, liberating these. Well, they were already dead, but you know what I mean. And I think the growing consensus is that we need to take care of the rest of the creatures up top and not let the knights take care of it.
Why?
That's just what I'm hearing. Well, there's this growing sense of enacting justice, and that if we leave them, maybe this little roving band of, I don't know, this war party, this raiding party might move on and then not be able to be found by the time we get to Palanthas and let the knights know, and then they come handle it and we don't know where they went. And they were into some pretty evil stuff that has to be stopped. Like, it's bad. Like, it's real bad.
Define bad for me, because I'm not quite sure if we have the same definition.
Sure. From what I gather, and this is kind of really not my thing, but from what I gather, it involves the sacrifice of many innocents to create some sort of other monstrous being that is a big, powerful problem and evil. And so, since knowledge of this ritual may still be with the rest of these things that are left above kind of where the rest of the party is, they got to go.
Right. But we have a thing to do. Aye?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And,
We're
and,
definitely
and
do the thing,
Vanguard,
yeah, for
Vanguard has more equipped sorcerers and wizards
Yeah,
and knights to handle this.
yeah. Well, here's the thing though. I'm pretty sneaky. Not all of us are, so there's a really good chance that coming back up out of this place, we're going to be spotted, and then that's going to force conflict.
That could be a problem.
It could be a problem. So that's why they're thinking of resting up down there, coming out tomorrow, and see what happens.
But, the question I have is, are they going to go these things above ground? Are they going to go into this subterranean dungeon that you're talking about?
Didn't look like it. I stuck around for a while. They were pretty leisurely, hanging around up top. It's possible.
Is anybody hurt?
No, everybody's okay. Everybody's just a little bit spent. We're a little out of tricks.
Well, if we want to make a fast getaway, we can just drive the horses down there, ride them, and have them jump on, and we take off.
That seems risky.
Well, did they have horses?
No, but they have ogres.
Hey, throw a rock or two. I think we can get out of the way just fine.
All right.
I mean, but if you really insist, I mean, I'll wade into the ogre shite with you, but it's not really my preference. I want to, and he kind of gestures towards the coffins in the back of the wagon. I need to watch them.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to do anything. I'm just letting you know that if we don't come back tonight, it's not because we're dead. It's because we kind of need to rest and recover a little bit.
Right. Well, I guess I'll wait, but we're just wasting time now. We could have. I mean, we'd be camping now anyways, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
we could have been on the road for like another hour or two, gain some ground. And Voss at this point will actually hear Winston, one of the dead knights he spoke to before, just kind of clear his throat, and you'll see him kind of like walk out of the back of the wagon and hop down onto the ground. And he looks up at Liam and looks at you. Clearly, Liam can't see him. Liam's just kind of taking a puff out of his smoke and kind of like, looks like he's debating what to do. And Winston crosses his arms over the plate mail of his chest. He's like, well, this isn't Solamnic. And he looks over at Voss. Your people, this is the thing to do. That you agree with this, yes?
Yeah, of course.
And he looks back at Liam. He'll need to be brought up and reprimanded once you get to Palanthas, but if there's any way me or the others can, I don't know if we can, but cause a distraction of some sort for you, we might be stretching the limits of how far we can get away from our bodies, but we'd be willing to try. If this is what you say it is, and it's as dark as you say it is, justice needs to be done.
Glad you see it that way. How can I convince him? And I'll just kind of gesture towards Liam.
He'll look at him and just kind of, you'll see this like sigh of resignation kind of pass through his spectral form in the moonlight. If I were around, I could just give him an order, but I really don't. I'm not sure. And you'll hear this chuckle from inside. It sounds like the white robe mage that was with them that you met. And Ulan, walks out and sits on the edge, like right next to Liam. Looks over at the knight that's smoking his pipe, looks at you. Honestly, Voss, buddy, I think he's kind of got his mind set. In my opinion, I'd say let him sleep. Let him stay here and just tell him if you want your guard to make sure the bodies get to their proper rewards, then you'll wait for us.
Very well.
Because I don't think he wants to make this journey by himself. I mean, you're not that far from the Knight's Road, but a lot of things can happen between here and there.
You bring up good points. Thank you. All right, Liam, you stay here, rest. I'll go and we'll kind of take care of things. If you want, in case we do need a quick getaway, might be able to get the cart a little bit closer, because if we make a wide circle out to the east, it's pretty much a straight shot to where the entrance and exit is. This stairway down into the cavern.
Oh,
You could probably get far enough away so that the raiding party won't hear the horse or the carriage, and you're closer than you'd be staying here.
That makes sense.
Make a quick escape might be the way to do it.
Makes sense. Yeah, I'll put it up into the edge of the camp there, and he'll actually point down, the valley area. Well, not really a valley, but down the hill towards where you guys see the camp.
Yep.
I'll get right to the edge there if that's fine. I just I can't risk the cargo, if you know.
Oh, understandable. Yeah, this way the cargo is a little bit closer as well. And I'll kind of look over at where the dead knights were talking, try to get him closer.
Winston gives you a nod, and you'll see that the mage will just kind of he'll stand up and get back into the wagon proper itself.
All right. Well, shall we?
Of course, yeah. Liam will hop out the back. You'll see him kind of tap out the remnants of his pipe, and he'll go to the front. He'll make sure the horses are all hitched up, and he'll start kind of quietly guiding them down the hill towards the encampment. It only takes about 10 to 15 minutes to actually get close enough. You're going a quarter mile, but he's going nice and slow. But you do get kind of a nod from Winston, who is walking alongside the wagon with you as you get closer, and he just kind of nods. I think this should be good enough.
Perfect.
And Liam will stop about 10 minutes later, right at the edge, the southernmost edge of that encampment, right by where the tents are empty. And as the wind kind of sweeps down through this area and hits the grass, makes it wave, you'll see a lot of the tent flaps will kind of start flapping back and forth. It's a weird, eerie, quiet sound that just sweeps over this entire encampment. Everything else is dead. There are no animals that come near here, no bird song, no calls out there. It's just deathly quiet.
All right. And then I'll make my way back up, following the same route that I came when I came back.
Okay.
Worked getting here. Hopefully it'll work heading back.
When you get back, you'll notice there's been even more movement. It seems like some of the goblinoids, as you kind of like sweep back around and like looking back through the call grass at that ruins, they kind of spread out a bit further. The two ogres have kind of started to sweep their way back towards the west side of the camp. The goblin and hobgoblin that were by the wall, right by the stairs, have moved on. Gives you a perfect opportunity to sneak in.
Perfect.
So as you kind of keep yourself low to the ground and work within the shadows, everything around you, you make it back to the stairwell and get back down with any issue. For those down below, Voss is gone for probably about 45 minutes to an hour. But he slowly, Dade will see him start to descend the staircase. You see a familiar silhouette, his shadow hit the ground, and he makes his way down there by himself. No sound of alert from above. It's really quiet outside.
I would like to take the opportunity to clean up down there using prestidigitation and try to make it look like it did before we got there as much as possible.
Okay.
Hide the bodies.
Yeah.
Maybe leave the one guy who looks like he's sleeping in the kitchen.
We're at the table. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So
Shivved in the back.
York can go around and start cleaning up some of the blood splattering and the signs of battle using his cantrips and dragging. It's a little rough occasionally to kind of dress some of his larger bodies like the hobgoblins in particular.
Yeah.
But you guys do manage to get them in like the storage room where they're out of sight. Nobody's going to see them immediately. It'll actually take somebody walking through the catacombs to find the bodies and be aware something went down here outside of them just having taken a fucking holiday and left. But it looks good. By the time Voss gets back, you've gone through the entire bottom like probably 2 or 3 times and made sure everything looks as close to as it did before as you possibly can.
And one note, if it's possible, ultimately, I want to make it look like if someone were to wander down here, I'm trying to basically imply that everybody who was down here took off with the treasure that was in the bedroom at the back.
You can do that. Just scatter a couple of coins on the floor, like maybe they hastily drop some in they're hurried to get out. That's not an issue. So you set up the con down below. The subterfuge is in place as Voss comes down and descends the stairs.
I'll just kind of, as he comes down, we all good?
Yeah, we're good. We have options.
Okay. Well, let's go back to everybody else.
Right.
We'll start making our way back to where everybody else is chilling.
You'll come by as you see York putting the finishing touches on cleaning up down here.
Looks good.
Got to make it look the part.
Rin has fallen asleep in one of the hallways. That white robe mage is kind of bundled up. Looks like he was trying to like go over his spell book and looking, through his like satchel to see what kind of scrolls he had. He just fell asleep literally in the middle of it. Like.
So, what are the options you were talking about?
All right. So, if we want to fight our way out of here, we can. I went and met up with Liam, told him what was going on, and he positioned the cart to the south, a little bit closer than he was, so that if we had to make a quick escape, the cart is a little bit more within range, so we can get out of here in a hurry if we absolutely have to. Or we just try and sneak out of here and go with what was originally suggested, go back to Palanthas, let the knights know, send them back to deal with this. Although I think I remember we were talking before about we don't want to do that because this is too awful of a thing to let lie.
It really is, because if we leave this group live and they decide to move 10 minutes north, southwest, east, and come across another small encampment, especially if it happens to be elves, all we did was staunch a bullet wound with a band-aid at that point. If we kill them now, anyone with the knowledge that was here, it's ensured that they're not getting the fuck out of here.
I agree with you, and I think that something tells me that overall the Knights of Solamnia would feel the same way.
Well, then our
I'll take your
answer
word
is
for
had. We wait and we destroy them.
You actually get a weird look from Sybil. We're on the other side of the room when you say that. Like, she kind of looks at you a little side-eyed and then just goes back to what she was doing.
Well, since we're staying and we're chilling, I need to get some rest, so I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to start whistling a tune of Restful Sleep or whatever my new passive is, where I can do that before
On the
bed.
rest.
Everybody's healed. It doesn't matter. It just makes us more comfortable, and I'm gonna pass the fuck out.
Fair enough. Are you guys saying it watches, or is everybody just taking a nap?
Watches.
I do not sleep.
Yeah, Nizdrith
That's-
is like perma watch.
It's not my problem.
She just goes into sentry mode.
Yeah.
I do
Right.
in fact get sentry mode.
Stands in the corner. Head just kind of moves back and forth.
The best party
It's an
member
alarm
ever.
or-
It's like de facto, you're on watch because you don't sleep anyways. It's beautiful.
Like whenever you've got
Better
an
than
elf in
an
the party.
Liam's already passed out in the hallway. But I think York was asking if you guys wanted to cast alarm.
If you feel it necessary.
Yeah. Put it over the entrance to the stairwell.
Right.
I'm going to leave us on the above ground because that's where I know you guys are going. So
That's the
just going
next
to leave
stop.
that up.
Fair. Fair.
But yeah, York casts alarm by the stairwell base is what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Main entrance, basically.
Not a problem. You put everything in place. You make sure that technically everything is in order to alert you in case something dares intrude upon the area. Because it's not magic, it's science. And it goes off without a hitch. Once everything's taken care of, you feel it settle in properly. The energies that you focus in the area seem to settle among themselves in proper alignment, and everything goes off. You got alarm up, it's good to go. Nithris decides to set watch. You guys all start to take your nap, and we will go for the long rest. Now,
Attempt.
yes, I will let you guys, since I'm being generous, spend 2 dice out of your 35 to avoid the interruption that is almost avoidable set to come in the middle of your rest.
I'm okay with spending 2 dice to get that rest. We got a lot. We can afford it.
Yeah,
Everybody else?
I'll
Okay.
accept it.
I too am
Yeah,
okay
I'll
with
go
that.
with that.
I agree.
All right.
Okay with it.
You don't get interrupted. You actually get a full long rest in. So you guys can go ahead and mark off the
God.
long rest.
Booyah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
When you
All right?
start to
Damn
come
right,
to,
Wolfie. You know the headache, buddy.
yeah, when you start to come to, you see the light has started to stream down through the entrance of the stairwell. As the moon fades and is taken over by daylight, once Voss is just starting to awaken, he will hear Winston's voice, the Solamnic Knight, the ghost. Tell him we kept them busy for the evening so they wouldn't come bother you. But that's all we could do. I'm sorry. As the I'm sorry kind of floats
sorry.
into the air and the sorry starts to fade into nothingness from Winston's voice, you see the sunlight start to stream down through the stairwell. And once the moon's gone, their time is up. But leaves you guys down here, peacefully rests, fully reinvigorated at dawn. It's all up what you guys do.
How do we want to kick this pig, ladies and gentlemen? Because I'm sure the fuck not talking down to ogres.
Well, what we have going for us is the element of surprise, but
Could lure them to an area and use the dagger trick again.
Would be best if we picked off as many of the small fry as possible before we took on any of the more dangerous targets.
just thinking the same thing.
I agree.
Rin is like, are we talking about doing what he did when we came down here?
If
Yeah.
possible.
Normally, I'm not really for that type of combat
I agree.
engagement. But
Neither am I.
I
In
don't
this
really
situation,
with the amount of us versus the amount of them, reluctantly I think that it's probably the wisest choice.
with the
With
potential
what they've
knowledge
been
that they
doing.
hold, yes.
What they've done.
They have the knowledge to unleash a great evil that I do not particularly want to fight again. So,
As much as
nip
I
it in
love
the
it,
bud.
as much as I love a straight up fight as anybody else, I'd rather not die here today. So let's try to keep this as clean as possible.
Here, here.
Agreed. All right, so what's the plan? We sneak out, Voss does his thing in the shadows, and we take on the large ones?
Yep.
Yeah,
And
that's pretty much what's going to happen.
and if I get in trouble, come a running.
That's the plan.
Okay. You'll hear Rin as you guys walk towards the stairwell. He starts to whisper under his breath. And for those with Knowledge Arcana, he actually is just casting Mage Armor again on himself. You see that quick translucent glow around him, and then it vanishes as the armor's cast.
I will give an all-knowing melodic whistle as Sean, you again have bardic inspiration.
You inspired motherfucker.
Oh yeah, I'm boosted.
Yep. That's how I roll.
It is, apparently. So Rin makes it to the edge of the stairs. He's not going to venture too far out, but he gets towards the top. Where do you guys want to set yourselves up around that stairwell? Or is it just going to be Voss sneaking out and doing the deeds as much as he can until problems hit?
Probably try to actually sneak up close to behind Voss and stop at the top enough that I can see. So I can, find
Yeah.
a place and put my wall of daggers.
Just down the stairs. Yep.
Yeah, given the sun just kind of edging up over the horizon, anybody looking back towards your direction, towards the east of the camp, is going to be hit by that bright sunlight. So I'm not going to make you guys roll any sort of stealth rolls to get out into a position like around the fallen towers or by the half wall that's there. So you guys can move yourselves by the ruins without any sort of issue whatsoever. Nobody's going to be looking that direction. It's just going to be once you get closer to them, that's when we'll start doing stealth rolls. But once you get to the top of the stairs, you're fine.
So we can. What you're saying is we can come up.
Yes. To put it simply, yes, you may come up.
I have one suggestion. Kind of looking at the layout of how. If I had to suggest anything, I would probably suggest circling around to the southern end of the
Northwest.
camp.
Yep.
Circle around to the southern end of the camp and let Voss do his thing. And as soon as things start going sideways, if somebody does notice something, we need to take this.
Northwestern
We
route
need to-
here.
We need to take this out as quickly as humanly possible because we can't get in a fight with two of these things.
And it is isolated. You'll hear
Exactly.
100%.
Rin speak up.
Alright.
So you guys can move yourselves down to the southwest portion of the camp without issue. If you skirt far enough away from that hobgoblin that's by one of the entrances, you guys can make it down there. So I'll let you go ahead and put yourselves where you want yourselves to be. As long as you're within, I'd say, well, outside of, let's say, 6 squares from the ogre, we won't worry about stealth checks right away because his back is turned towards the sun at the moment.
As Sean marauds around for ogre
Right.
flesh.
His blade has a hunger, man.
Meat's back on the
does.
menu, boys.
As a mighty,
I don't think
as
we
a
want that
mighty
meat.
need. Pretty much as soon as things go south, we're just going to alpha strike that that ogre there, so
Well,
that
you-
we don't have to deal with two.
You know that he's probably not going to one-shot the ogre. Probably.
No.
I don't
No.
know. I don't know. I'm just
not
saying.
at level
He
3.
might
No
roll
way.
like
No.
a god.
No,
way.
It's like
Not at
literally
level
just
3.
things go south, everybody jumps the ogre, and then go out from there.
And hopefully
Right.
we break morale when they see how bad we fucked that ogre up.
Yeah. Make him run off.
No, not run off, but be a little hesitant when they come at us so we can try and take them one at a time.
We
We'll
just
have
want
to
them
see.
to
Wishful
rethink
thinking,
their
right?
life
Wishful
choices,
thinking,
not flee.
What's the plan here, Voss? You're the sneaky sneak.
I think I'm going to start with this one.
Oh, you're going all the way around. You're like, I'm going to slide over on this guy and just shank him. So, first off, roll me your stealth check.
Why bother?
I question that myself sometimes with the 27. But Voss kind of makes his way down south and kind of does a wide circuit to the west end of the camp there, the ruins. And he creeps up between these 2 trees, passes his half wall, and sees this goblin that's kind of looking at this like little like rusted dagger in his hands. He's kind of mumbling to himself, leaning back against his half wall. And Voss can kind of stand up and look down at the goblin and see him plain as day. The other goblins that are within the 30 or so feet, they're just kind of like around the area, don't seem to be paying attention because this guy's just kind of toying with something that he found in the wreckage.
I'm going to try and stab him and like pull him behind the wall and stash the body. That's kind of what my plan is.
He's got that terrible shh, be quiet. It'll be over soon. Shh.
Let it
Like
happen.
pulls him over the
Just
top
let
of
it
the wall.
happen.
Right.
All right, so you're using a sword or are you using a dagger?
I'm going to use my rapier.
So you just like, shink, you just reach over and just stab straight down and cup the mouth. Is that the plan here?
That's the plan, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
roll
Don't
your
let my
attack.
face be the last thing you see. Heaven might hold it against you.
Wow.
What the fuck?
Clearly he's flat-footed. 16
Scott.
will hit.
You've never seen Smoking Aces, Chris? Come on.
Yeah, when it came out.
Oh,
Right,
fair.
long time ago. So go ahead and roll your damage and your sneak attack.
I'll have to
Yeah,
edit it
Scott
when I
didn't
watch
watch
it
it.
because that was a good movie.
Fucking great movie.
So I think that's 15.
I was gonna say,
So-
does that include all of your backstabbing?
As a goblin, I have a total of 7 hit points. So you reach down, cup his mouth, and he just kind of goes to kind of jerk and glance up at you as he drops the dagger in his hands, and you just impale him with your rapier and pull him back over the rock. You get him behind the rock cover and just drop the body, He gives like a final twitch and is no longer moving. Next victim, sir. You can
This is why
see
we love rogues.
to the northeast, there's another goblin by like a half-standing pillar. To the southeast of you, right behind this like half fallen down corner wall of a building, there's another goblin rooting through the stones there. But just beyond him, there's a hobgoblin who seems to have picked up some goods or something off of the corpse of an elf that's just strewn about the ground here in the grass. Looks like it's some sort of bauble.
All right. I'm not gonna fuck with that yet. I'm gonna go like sneak around over here and do like a corner murder.
So you slide up and around this, essentially this collapsed lookout tower that has a tree that's sprouted up within it. You go across some ruins there, sneak over and slide past some rocks that are kind of like noisy, but you manage to make your way past it. You get to that half-standing pillar, and you hear the goblin just chittering to itself on the other side of the corner. You kind of do a peek around it. It's there, completely oblivious to you. But just beyond that, you can see this human mercenary or bandit, whatever he is, but definitely human with these goblinoids, walking towards what looks like a ruined floor that's in the grass. Like he's walking towards a small ruined building a little farther to the east of you.
Well, I'll wait till he gets as far as he's gonna go, and maybe use the sound of his footsteps as cover for my attack. I'm gonna reach out and similar thing to what I did to the first one.
You see him reach the edge of this building that had some sort of collapsed, like caved-in basement. He just kind of peers over the edges and he spits down into it. He's like, "Ha, puh." And there's a hobgoblin walking up behind him and just kind of grunts. It's like, it's not that far, but it'll probably hurt if I throw you in there. And they start bantering back and forth, giving you an opportunity to take out this goblin.
Crit.
You
What a dick.
a 26. All right, so you killed this goblin. I'm not gonna make you roll. It has 7 hit points. Remember.
Yeah.
How do you finish this guy off?
So I need to minimize the noise. So I'm going to cup the mouth and impale through his back to pierce his heart.
So you just kind of pull him around the corner and just run him through while you cup his mouth so he can't scream.
Yep.
You, sir, impale this thing right through the spine. It twitches briefly and then just goes silent as its last breath escapes its lungs. And you have another dead goblin corpse. You stash him behind the pillar.
I'm just checking. We're all chaotic evil, right?
Saruman
No.
approved.
Bruh, this is a little rough. You'll see
Well,
kind of...
there are laws that we need to follow.
Actual good.
I'm lawful evil.
Fair.
Rin is just kind of he looks a little unhappy with this as you guys are all sitting here, but he's resigned to this. This is the greater good in this instance outweighs any personal comfort he might have right now.
The road to perdition. Just saying.
Oh, no, not even neutral good. Neutral.
Yeah.
Chaotic
Next
good.
victim, sir.
Well, this is where things get tricky.
This is the part in the Assassin's Creed game where patience pays off.
Yep.
Mhm.
Just gonna wait for them to like wander about to give targets an opportunity.
Yeah. I'm gonna kind of be patient and wait for an opportunity to present itself.
The ogre down south starts to maneuver itself further into that building. Like when you guys originally came here the night before and saw him, he's by those elven corpses. He kind of goes back in that area again, which leaves the group gathered on the southeast portion of this camp, having to huddle in the blocked line of sight that this half wall gives you as it starts rooting back around among the corpses. The others start to meander about. You'll see that the hobgoblins and goblins start to make their way towards the staircase you guys ascended from to get out of the catacombs. The human mercenary or bandit that was with them goes that direction as well. However, the hobgoblin that was kind of bantering back and forth with that human starts making its way towards that column that you're behind. You do have a goblin that kind of makes its way towards where you killed that first one by the wall. It actually gets to that wall, spots that fallen rusted dagger, and picks it up and starts toying with it.
I'm gonna try and sneak up behind him and kill him.
Roll your stealth, sir, and I will roll his attempt at seeing you.
Oh, I'm gonna have to use bardic inspiration probably for that.
Are you serious? That's a 15. Like, don't even with that shit.
No, I don't know. I don't know how good they are. What if you roll 20? I don't fucking know.
He rolled a 2. He rolled a 3, but he has a -1, so he rolled a 2.
Oh, okay. Well, then never mind.
This poor little goblin is so wound up in this dagger, it's completely oblivious to you being there. I'm not going to make you roll because it's a goblin and you're sneak attacking. So you kill this poor defenseless goblinoid creature that's just once a shiny, rusted though it may be.
Oh, he got a shiny. I'm gonna put him by his buddy.
Oh my god.
Oh, blood.
Voss is
wow.
just stacking bodies.
Stacking them like cordwood.
The hobgoblin that's north of you
Damn.
rolls a 7 on his perception, doesn't see you after your stealth of 20 some odd, or 15, excuse me. Still is just meandering around. He makes his way towards the pillar that's there, and he starts resting against the other side of where you stashed the body. So just on the opposite outside of this pillar, there's a dead goblin. He's laying on the other side, doesn't seem to be aware of it whatsoever.
Are you deliberately like dangling these NPCs on corners for Voss to come and get it? Come and get it.
I'm thinking they're lazy.
Come here.
They're just doing their job. And he's like, hey, look, targets are... Because if you guys raise an alert, this is a different rush, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
100%.
The moment Voss fails a stealth check, we got problems.
Yeah, it'll be bad.
Got problem.
Next victim, sir. I know
All
it's
right.
difficult choices here.
It is. It's rough. Because,
Feel isolated.
well, I'm going to sneak up on this dude. Let's give it a shot. Let's take a run.
And I know your ass is going to attack him. Now, I actually will make you roll this one.
Stab
17.
him good, Sean.
You just hit the guy. He's wearing chains, so you find a good kink in the armor and slide the blade home. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Is it enough?
Oh my god.
The one shot.
24.
You bastard.
I rolled max damage on all my dice.
That's
Shame,
hot.
shame,
you don't
bitch.
have a strength modifier?
It's a
Because you have a
rapier.
finesse
so-
weapon.
It's a finesse
It's,
weapon.
it's a,
Finesse
it's
But you have a
finesse.
finesse weapon, so you can
Uh-huh.
use your dexterity.
Yeah, my damage is 1d8 plus 4.
It's already set up.
Nice.
So
Gotcha.
you drive the rapier point through this hobgoblin. It collapses. There's a bit of a spasm, but it goes down in that one strike. As that occurs, the people who are hiding a little further southeast see that ogre start coming towards the corner of your wall. And as you guys are kind of making sure that wall lines up between you and its line of sight, who wants to make a stealth roll for the group?
Oh, not me.
I got a +4.
Go for it.
I have armor. Not me.
Dave, you gonna make it then?
I am going to use a die, sir.
You
We're literally,
better.
we're literally sitting
8?
back there going,
That's pretty
I'm
bad.
going to use one of our dice.
8? Wow.
Pretty bad.
Fuck.
13 isn't
It was
bad.
on 19 and it fell over. We'll hold 13.
It has disadvantage. 10 on the first roll. Let's see how we go on the second one. 14. So as you go with the 10, with his -2, makes it an 8. So as Dade goes to try to get everybody to duck down, he actually stumbles and falls to the grass. But as he does that, you all instantly go, oh, we have to, and you lay flat in the grass, bringing us back to Voss.
I very much like this plan. However, I do feel somewhat conflicted about Boss having a higher body count than me.
Yeah, and you're probably never going to hear the end of it from Boss either.
Voss is pretty far down south.
Yeah, he is. I don't want to take a risk of being caught out in the middle. I'm going to make my way kind of back by everybody else.
So Voss slides a bit farther down south, makes his way through the grass, and sees as you approach this area that all your compatriots have kind of ducked down. They're almost laying down in the grass in an army crawl position as this ogre is towering over the half wall and rooting through the remains of some of the dead bodies there of the elven refugees.
I won't even stop. I'll just keep creeping past them, and as I creep past them, I'll look at them, and I'll just smile, and I'll go, shh, and I'm going to sneak back up here.
Wow. So you just start trekking your way up to the northern part of the camp, and you find the hobgoblin by himself by the tree.
You tell him a bedtime story?
I'm going to start calling you the fucking Krynn Night Stalker. What
Yeah,
is your
right.
problem, dude? Psycho.
All
It's the
right.
midnight stabber that stabs at midnight.
Yes.
The thought is to come around this tree bush and sneak up on him and see if I can take him out.
Go and roll your damage. Well, not roll your damage. I'm not going there. Roll your attack.
I crit.
26. Another crit. Oh my god. Your blade hungers for blood.
The blade's going to become either a magic weapon or a
18.
cursed weapon later. It's going to happen.
So you kill this poor hobgoblin, mind his own business. You just
Uh,
axe him. It's literally he's just standing, he's walking towards you. There's a moment where he looks like he almost sees you, and you flick your rapier and just slice right across his throat. And he tumbles to the ground and falls underneath the tree by you.
Try and quietly drag him behind the tree.
You tug him back.
Put him out of the way a little bit.
See everybody else is kind of meandering about still. Looks like some of the goblins are actually heading towards the stairwell at this point in time, as the sun's starting to rise further off the horizon. And you will see that hobgoblin that had been standing over by that half pillar makes his way around the corner. And let's see if he even spots or cares to spot that. You rolled a 1. I am going to use a
No
dice
fucks given.
for the NPCs. And we'll get another one of those because that's some BS, is what I like to call it. 14's better.
I just think it's nature taking its course, honestly.
I was like, it's a goblin that's dead? Pfft, I would have killed myself if somebody else didn't. But
One
he
of the
walks.
ogres must have stepped on him.
Yeah, with that stab wound through his back. So the hobgoblin walks around, and as you tug that other hobgoblin's body into the tree and under the foliage so it's hidden, you hear this ah, and this rough sounding like series of syllables just spills out of this hobgoblin's mouth at the other end of the camp, which stops the 3 goblins heading towards that stairwell in their tracks. The human by that fallen in basement looks over and says, "What? Did you drop something? What's wrong with you? Shut up." And the ogre that's up north by the fallen tower starts kind of making its way down towards that hobgoblin. The ogre that's down south by the party, where you guys are hidden, starts to make his way out of that collapsed building. Starts heading northwest.
We need to go now.
Yeah, I agree. So maybe initiative?
We could go that route. It's jump time.
They're all going to gather. So if we can stop this big-ass fucking ogre from getting up there to the rest of them, that's one less big-ass ogre we got to worry about in about 3 seconds, you know?
So it's go time is what I'm hearing.
It's go time.
Okay.
Pretty much.
All right. Yeah, roll your initiative, guys. Let me know what you get.
And I think we're going to all mollywomp this poor ogre.
Well, I think we all know by now that Voss is kind of a one-man blender, and he puts that rapier to work. Now, there are still some enemies left to take care of above ground, so we'll see what they do with that. On top of things, some interesting stuff happens with Liam in a bit. Liam's getting a little anxious to get the Palanthas, and the group is kind of, well, rubbing a little raw with his insistence, if you can't tell. We'll see you next episode.